Gents, in one of my most recent videos, you heard a gay black man say that straight black men are a cancer to the community.
Straight black men are the cancer of the black community. I've been saying for years on this show that black men need to have a conversation, black men alone. We have got to figure out what is going on with us. This is not something that black women can help us with. This conversation does not include black women. Black women, stand down and stand to the side.
You also may have seen these videos about these hood proms. P and I talked about it on Partners in Crime and how they're getting completely out of control.
He was turned off that at Sada Baby to K17 for prom.
Looks like African American men have another 50 years of not having suitable wives to marry.
It has become so ridiculous that it seems that there's a push by adults to try to have our kids in grown-up situations before they're mentally prepared for it. Now, this is crazy. Why do they have these kids dressed up like this? Why are they doing so much to have these kids grown before they have to be? We have so many kids worried about extravagant dances, extravagant proms, social media validation, relationships, and out here looking grown, yet half of them may not even graduate high school. Hell, most Americans are reading at a 6th grade level. And if you think I'm exaggerating, watch this.
There are 2 viral videos circulating around the internet right now where high school students are being asked to read a passage and certain words, and they're struggling.
Read the index card for me.
She wore a suit, clothes that were... Who's this for? Extraordinary, but somewhat... Gertrude?
Now explain what that means.
I don't know.
She wore a sahalat of clothes that were extraordinary, whatever, bro, but somewhat gooch.
What does that mean?
She wore a lot. Wait, she wore, bro, I don't know, bro. Can you take the card back, please?
She wore a, oh, baby. She wore a silhouette of clothes that were, bitch, I don't know that word. I don't even know how to read. I don't know why I did this.
She wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary, but somewhat gauche.
All right, now what does that mean?
I have no idea. Like his clothes was nice or something like that.
She wore a, I don't know what this shit say. Read it. I don't know what this shit say. I don't know what this shit say. I can't read it. Can't read it. Cancel back.
It was awful. Words like silhouette, extraordinary, colonel, choir, accommodate, schedule. They struggle to read those words. And you can say it's parents, you can say it's teachers, but we all know it's also systemic. So now the person asking them and recording this was a fellow student. Do you know that student is currently in trouble, currently being threatened with no prom and no graduation?
Now, I want you to remember, these are high school students. These aren't elementary kids. These are high school students. And the fact that some of them can't read words that they should have learned when they were in middle school and elementary school, they should have mastered these words a long time ago. Let me tell you, this is disturbing. This should disturb everyone watching this goddamn video. And you don't have to take my word for it. Even these teachers are speaking out about it right now.
If I tell them, go over there, get me that book, and then when you're done, wipe that desk off. They go, oh, okay. They go to the book, and then they be like, what did you say to do again?
I have 110-ish students. 2 of them are reading on grade level. 18 of them are at a kindergarten level.
20 years into teaching, and honestly, the students' abilities get lower every single year. I want to be a nurse. I would spell W-O-O-D. I would be a cool nurse. A cool nurse. And I think nurse are cool. Because nurse save lives, like how they save us.
Name 3 continents. I want to say London. Why do you think London's a continent?
Because it's a natural place for where people go.
Has been school. Each generation spends more time in school. We use school to develop our cognition until Gen Z. Gen Z is the first generation in modern history to underperform us on basically every cognitive measure we have, from basic attention to memory to literacy to numeracy to executive functioning to even general IQ, even though they go to more school than we did. So why? What happened? What happened around 2010 that decoupled schooling from cognitive development? It can't be school. Schools basically look the same. It can't be biology. This hasn't had enough time to change. The answer appears to be the tools we are using within schools to drive that learning. Across 80 countries, as Jean was just saying, if you look at the data, once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly, to the point where kids who use computers about 5 hours per day in school for learning purposes will score over 2/3 of a standard deviation less than kids who rarely or never touch tech at school.
You are interacting with them briefly in between hits of the internet, which is their real life.
I gotta keep the kids constantly engaged. Not even just engaged, but almost overstimulated. The candy isn't even working anymore.
Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Put your hands on me.
And gents, what makes this even scarier is these aren't just random internet opinions. Teachers are saying it. Neuropsychologists are saying it. People who work with children are saying it every single day. These kids are struggling emotionally. These kids are struggling academically. They're struggling socially. And for the first time in modern history, we may be looking at a generation of kids that are less prepared for life than the generations before them. This has never happened before, and this is not progress. That's the decline. And eventually, that decline is going to start showing up in their behavior, which we just saw. And before somebody gets emotional in the comments, this isn't every household. We understand that. But there is enough households right now that are broken that the consequences are becoming visible everywhere. And if you think this is only affecting kids that are trying to learn to read, adults can't read either.
I knew the kids weren't reading, but I didn't think it was this bad.
Right now. You in 12th grade, nigga. What's a bow, bro? Take a bow, nigga.
Honestly, right now, Rakai thinks he's sick. Got money, he doesn't give a fuck about vowels. Soon enough, he's gonna find himself in a contract where he can't comprehend. He's gonna lose all of his money because he can't fucking read. Now, let's talk about this. This was written by an adult. His parent received a report card of her daughter's progress. And unfortunately, her daughter wasn't progressing enough. The mom took it upon herself to meet with the teacher and the principal.
And me and the principal basically were on the same page.
Full disclosure, the principal wasn't on your side. The principal just wanted you to go. Because if the principal saw this letter, he knew that you were a lost cause, and she marked your daughter as a lost cause too.
What happens when you create a generation of young people who can barely read, who can barely communicate, can barely focus, and can barely have the basic life skills that they need? They become unemployable. They become dependent. They become frustrated with society because society demands things that they were never prepared for. I need you to watch this.
So there's a video going viral about Gen Z and Gen Alpha being unemployable. And I'm 100% sure that is true. The video I made about No Child Left Behind being the worst thing ever happened to this country, all it does is piggyback off of that. I have seen for myself people who come into interviews late, if they show up at all. I have seen people come in with their parent. I have seen people come up in pajamas. I have seen people in the middle of an interview ask if they can call their mother so she can explain the question to them or give them an example. I have seen people with no education, and I mean none, no education past high school, demand higher pay, higher benefits, like more leeway, and you don't even have the education to back that up. And it's all because these children are so entitled and they're not used to working for anything.
This right here is the long-term cost. Not just unemployable, but helplessness. Imagine trying to build a society where young adults can't sit through interviews, can't communicate properly, can't fill out paperwork, and can't function without parents holding their hands. And again, people think these conversations are just about dating and gender wars. We have legislators in some of these states trying to put the 10 commandments up on the wall, yet their states are some of the dumbest states, have the worst literacy in the whole country. But yet they can't even read the 10 commandments being put up in the classroom right now. There's a reason things are being pushed right now, because this here was always a part of the plan.
So, like, what's your name? Oh,
type shit.
What do you do?
Yeah, I'm a road runner. I'm
A road runner?
Yeah, risk taker.
What does that mean?
Shit, it is what it is.
What do you do as a road runner risk taker?
Shit. We road run and we take risks. Yeah.
What risks are you taking?
We just take risks, shawty. Like if you ain't about to take the risk, then the risk ain't about to be taken, shawty.
I'm confused.
Nah, shawty.
But what actually is the risk that is to be taken? I'm lost.
Man, listen, I know some people are going to laugh at this clip, because what in the hell was that at the end? But honestly, it's not funny, because this young man can barely communicate in a way that most functioning adults can understand. I didn't understand the goddamn thing he was saying, and neither did the woman or the young lady that was in clip. And yet this is becoming normalized. You got some 5 and 6-year-olds who communicate better than this. Now combine that with broken homes, a lack of discipline, social media addiction, poor education, and emotional instability. And then tell me why society feels like it's collapsing.
Wait a minute, hold on. I thought y'all were raising provider men.
These young ladies are asking our sons for money. And as a boy mom, they used to really grind my gears, because this little girl sent my son a $100 Temu request. First of all, I didn't even know you could do that. Thank you, bitch. Also, terrible discernment, bad pussy management. My son not even dropping the fries, and he doesn't have a license. He was 15 years old, girl.
Oh, well. Oh, well.
Now you, I feel like you asking me for money, because where he going to get it from?
She is. You pay it up, mama.
And have you seen Malcolm X, young lady? Huh? Have you? Do you know what happens to you when you put your hands in somebody else's pocket?
Pay it up, mama. Pay it up. I thought we all wanted provider men. He's a little boy. You're responsible for him. So you need to send that little girl $100. Because I thought the men were supposed to be paying for the women.
Now, this is the uncomfortable part of the conversation that we need to have, because many boys right now are being raised primarily by these single mothers. And some of these mothers are trying their best. I'm not going to hold anybody. Listen, there are single mothers out there that are doing their best. But unfortunately, in today's society, their best, in some cases, isn't good enough. Because when boys grow up watching dysfunction, watching toxic relationships, watching instability, it affects how they see women. It affects how they see relationships. It affects how they see family. And that goes not just for these boys, but it also goes to these little girls too. But when we talk about these boys, eventually you start to see resentment.
My son told me one time, he said, "You use men." And I was like, huh? He said, "You play them for money. You play them for stuff." He said, "So I don't respect women." He said, "Because if you could do it, they could do it." And I was like, I never did that. I said, the opposite was, they was giving me that to keep y'all shut up so they could have your mama. Let's get it straight.
Hey, that's cold. It's all about perception. It's all about perception. And that's the crazy thing about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're children looking at adult affairs, and we're not necessarily knowing what's going on as far as the particulars is concerned. All I see is Mr. Scott coming in every other weekend, you know what I'm saying? And, you know,
buying pizza and handing you money and getting your new Nintendo game and all of that. And that's just to shut you up.
But on the same token,
he looked like I was using him to get them stuff.
Now, gents, I've heard of this before. I've seen this before in the hood. where mom had the little boyfriend going over. She was barely home. And then I seen what happened to those people as adults. And we talking back in the 90s. Yeah, they grew up with a lack of respect. They grew up with a lack of education. They grew up with a lack of self-control and discipline. This right here is the final warning sign. When young boys start resenting their own moms, when young girls grow up without structure, when families become broken by default instead of exception, you don't just create dating problems, you create generational problems. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And that's exactly what we've been talking about in these last videos. Because once society stops learning, it becomes easier to manipulate. And we already see that. A lot of manipulated ass people out here. Becomes easier to control and easier to destroy from within.
If you keep them preoccupied with all of these frivolous and stupid distractions, then they will eventually, listen now, here's the answer to your question. They will eventually start to contribute to their own destruction. You tell them books are bad, and we will arrest you if we catch you reading. You tell them books are bad, and if you don't leave your house, we'll burn you up with you and your books still in them, right? And so society begins to see that. The hammer comes down. If you try to learn, if you try to foster the growth of the mind, we're going to lay down the law. Other people see that, and they'll begin to say, books are bad. Don't get caught reading. Don't get caught with a book. It'll cost you your life if you try to learn something, right? It happens today. It happens in certain peer groups today. It's not cute to be smart. It's not cool to be intellectually engaged in class. It's wiser to go to sleep. And so people will begin to engage in their own destruction. Carter G. Woodson said, if you control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about what he'll do. He'll find his proper place in society and get in it. You don't even have to tell him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will demand that when it's cut out for his use, his education demands it. See, if you control a man's thinking, he will begin eventually to lower himself to your standard, right? One of the things that a slave master during the slavery period in this country could do was buy a slave. He could sell a slave. He could abuse a slave. He could whip a slave. But he wouldn't teach a slave, because if you teach a slave, there will be no keeping that slave as a slave. But if you tell slaves, if I catch you reading, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you some pain. If I catch you trying to learn, I might tie you to that tree and whip you. And so pretty soon, people begin to fall right in line. You don't need to tell them to go to the back door. They'll go without being told. It happens right here in this school building, right? They find their so-called proper place as second and third class citizens and stay in it. As a matter of fact, now everybody can learn. Now it's not illegal to learn. And so if you come to the schoolhouse where learning is open and legal and fair and offered to you, and you put your head down and go to sleep, you are choosing slavery.